Here's a Delta faucet. It was dripping, so I changed the insides. I just went to Lowe's and bought a repair kit. So let's get to it. Let's fix this faucet. So I undid the plug and I took out the little hex knot, and it was corroded on there, so it was very difficult to get off. Finally got it off using a special drill bit, and got the handle off, which was also corroded on. I loosened this with a plumber's wrench, and then I hand took it off. Make sure you pay attention to everything that you're removing and exactly how you took it off so that you can assemble it back together the correct way. Then I took the faucet off, and that was also corroded, so I had to wiggle it a few times and then it came off. And there was a little washer on the bottom. Make sure you clean that all up and you keep it. Then I used a rag and really cleaned it all up, and now I'm taking off one of the two washers. So you have to use a tool sometimes. It just rolls up over. Here's a different angle. I'm getting the second washer off, and pay attention to those two grooves because that's what you're going to use when you replace it. Now I'm taking out the springs and the stoppers and drying up all that water that's in there, cleaning everything all up, and I'm installing the new washer. First you install the top, and you might use a tool to get that down into the correct groove, and then you install the second one over it. Make sure you grease these up before you put everything back together so that they get nice seal. You can use a tool to roll it down to make sure you get it down to that second groove on the bottom. I also installed the springs and the plugs. Now I'm looking at the ball, and I can see that it's worn down in one area, so I'm going to make sure I grease that up really well. And here's the old part and the new part. You can see where it's worn down as well. That must have been where the leak took place. So the ball goes in, that little slot goes into a little pin that's on the side, and that just rests there. And then I decided to put back on the faucet, so make sure you grease everything all up and slide that right on top. It doesn't screw on or anything, just slides on. And now I'm making sure the slots all line up, and you see the plastic has a little notch and it goes into the edge. And for the life of me, I could not get the new piece to sit in. It was just too new and big, and it just would not fit in. So eventually I had to use the old stopper. I just greased it up really well, and I was able to finally screw the thing back on. Now I'm tightening it back up with the plumber's wrench, just a couple of little turns, and then I'm installing the handle on top of that. And it worked. So this is the Delta faucet. I just replaced the insides of it. It was not an easy task. Everything was corroded. I had to use a lot of heavy tools just to try to get it loose. And in the end, I couldn't fit the brand new pieces in. They just wouldn't sit right. So I had to use some of the old parts. And these are the old parts I took out and replaced them with new washers. I think the biggest improvement was that I put a bunch of grease in there. It was all corroded and dry, so nothing was sealing well. This tool saved me just trying to get the initial screw out right here, and then this was corroded on, and then I couldn't get it to sit in, and it was just very challenging. But it's done. It was probably $12 for the parts, and it is not dripping anymore. So that is a wrap.